Everybody, welcome back to Sticks and Stones. Today we're going to finish this Indian up, hopefully. This right here is what I ended up with. I cleaned him up a little bit. I took all the wood out here and cleaned him up a little bit. Got his braids to stand out. Got his profile just a little bit better because when I hold it close to me, I can see it a lot more. All right. And we got him not looking too bad. His profile looks good. His chin's about where it should be. And remember, this right here still is, it's still really a character. It's really not realistic features yet. I mean, his mouth should be really, I made this really wide. If I was going to make a realistic Indian, this would be a lot smaller. The barrel of his mouth and the mouth would be a lot smaller. Okay, and we'll start covering some other things in other videos on that. But he's a fun little thing to play with. And he'll be neat when I paint him up. And he'll have just enough different look that he's fun, he's interesting, and he doesn't have to be quite perfect. Okay, so that's what I came up with there. I took what I did since the last video is right in here to give you a couple of tips that I didn't cover. I'd have to actually watch the last video because I just kind of kept going once I got it in my hand, and now I got to figure out what I did that I changed him. Besides taking all the wood out here and getting the braids to stick out, I did cut up here. I'm going to start to give him some kind of headband or something. We'll figure out as we go. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. But I might try painting him with some acrylics afterwards and give him some color and see what we can do. And we'll get his eyes and everything in today, if I can find my tools. An important part, you see here under the cheeks? Okay. When the face is wide, like the way we started, all right? Because I was going to just do a face, not really any type of thing in mind when we started here. What I did there is you take your gouge, all right, and always scoop out, just like this, all right, some wood. If your face is too fat and you want to give it a little bit more character, okay, scoop out and go right into the hair. That's why I wanted to get the hair framed in and everything, so I could actually dig down and push things back into the face. You see under the chin here? That's lower, okay, right in here. I scooped this out, okay, on both sides. And when you do that, you want to stay above, not above, but below the nose here, okay? And if you're doing a beard, for instance, I've done this in other videos, but that's an important part if you want to give your carving a little bit more character, okay? And it can hollow the face down a little bit and give them a lot more interesting look, and you'll start getting those cheekbones to come out and everything else. And I do that in every wood spirit carving. If you actually look at a lot of my videos, you'll see. So all you're doing is really just, I'm taking my number 8 gouge here and I'm scooping that out, okay? Just like that. And you try and get it so they're both even, of course. And then you get it to blend in the face with your knife and other hand tools. But the big key there, when you do that, all right, is to keep it below the nose. You don't want to get all up in here, all right, which we do in other parts. Like right here by the temples, I would take some out there then also, all right, because we want those temples to stand out also, all right. And then, of course, I would take my knife and I would start doing the forehead and blending that stuff back in. What else can I give you as far as a good little tip? Because I'm probably just going to work on his hair and up in here today for the most part. And I'm going to leave his face alone and keep him kind of a caricature. But, well, there is different, for instance, there's, if I have my marker here, will this work? Not really. Boy, you go through markers when you do this type of stuff. An important part here, if he's not looking right up here in the forehead, all right, remember this right here is basically three different planes. You got one here, all right, there's another one that angles off this way, and there's another one that angles off this way, okay? So when you're doing your forehead, all right, and you want him to look a little bit better, if he looks too round and fat up there, think in threes, okay? Like that, think 1, think 2 this way, and then think 3 this way, and try and get that type of forehead going, all right, on your carvings, and it'll start looking a little bit different to you, a little bit better, all right, if you're getting too much of a round thing going on up there on top. Like I said, little things like that can really throw your carvings off. And I'm all about trying to give you tips. And hopefully things will help. All right. Like I say, the more we know, and the more we learn, the easier and better our carvings get. So if you learn one little tip from this video, then I'm not doing too bad at my job. Okay. Can't teach you everything, but hopefully it can answer a lot of questions. All right, so that's what we'd use our gouge for here. All right. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with the braid yet. So let me think for a minute. And I'll clean him up over here with what I just dug up with my gouge. And we'll continue on and see what else we can do with this little guy. I know, he's starting to look kind of animated. I like him. Okay, let's see what we can come up with in this video. Okay, I really don't like up in here, this part being raised. I was thinking of more down along this line, this high. This part right here being kind of like a band to maybe a headdress, or, you know, wherever he's going to put his feathers. So this right here, I might just take off and round that off. So I'm thinking that yet. I still have some cleanup here. And one more point. We can actually separate a little bit in here too. Right, and clean up that mouth and open it up a little bit. We can do that a little bit later on. But right here, do you see why we have to put those holes in the sides? When you view him from the side, you see how the mouth, let me see if I can blow that up. How the mouth goes into the corner here of the face. Okay, you should definitely be able to see that right there. When you view him from the side, it kind of just goes up and under this little side of the face here. So I think that's an important part in doing any kind of face with lips. So that's why we put those little indents. I did not make his face round enough here when I did that, so it gave me a bit of a hard time. So we'll cover that again in depth, and I'll show you where about to place them. I was just trying to use the gouges I had on my table, and with my eyes, really, I didn't really see where the mouth was going. So I put it in the wrong spot, really, but that's okay. He cleaned up enough that he'll be fun enough to paint, and nobody will really notice, hopefully. We should still end up with something a little bit interesting here. And again, remember, think of the forehead as in different planes. Everything's different planes. The chin down here would be different planes when I clean that up. It's going to be more flat here and then two flat planes. This should actually be a little higher and square, more of a square jaw if I wanted him to look a little better, actually. But like I said, we're making a caricature. We're not really caring. We're not going super realistic on this. And we just got to figure out what to do with these braids. So if I can take this marker and draw in what I think I want to do anyway. We might put some hair here. Let's just do, man, do I have any markers that work? Have I been doing that much carving lately? Jeez. We're going to try and do something simple in this one, and then we'll try to do more realistic braids down the road and try different things. So we're going to, again, do something simple by doing this type of thing. We're going to try and come straight across and do the same thing here. These are going to be the pieces of leather that actually wrap around his braid. Okay. I shouldn't have even put some hair there yet. Like I said, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wasn't even going to try to come up with a Native American on this piece. I was just going to do some quick eyes and maybe a mouth. And now we're trying to turn it into an Indian. So we'll see how that goes. Down here, I'm going to make this a point, and this will come up. There'll be another one of those pieces of leather right here. Okay. And we'll try to make that look a little bit more interesting by putting some of these in. Of course, we'll have to come over here to the back and carve this to get those to stand out. And then maybe we'll do some beads around his neck or something, and I'll show you how you can do that. All right, so we're going to do something like that, and these braids we're going to just bring to a point to make them nice and easy. All right, this right here will be hair going into the braid. Of course, this hair will come up from here. So maybe even one up there, we'll see. So that pretty much is what's going to be going on here. The hair is going to come down, go into the braid. It's going to go into the braid over here. We'll make this a little bigger. And then we'll have a point with hair here. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. And let's start cutting those out. All right, so I'm just going to get my knife here, and I'm going to come over here to this line, and I'm going to push down a little bit of an angle. Pop a chip out, push down, come up, making V-cuts, and we'll go around that. And just pop some of that wood out, okay, to separate where that braid is going to be from the hair. Let's do it again here. We'll come right here, we'll push down, push up, nice and simple V-cut, okay, down and up. Taking our marker line off a little bit as we go, all right. Just like that. And that's a good start. Then we'll run our V-tool and stuff out here to bring that hair out on the sides. And that's how easy that's going to be. All right, let's do this one. This one's kind of at a downward slope. I guess I can't draw straight for anything. So I'm going to move that up a little bit. That's not a problem. Again, I'm just using simple V-cuts here just to make that stand out. Doesn't have to be too deep even. Okay, now we have that standing out. On the top part, let's get this side right here. And if he's not even, we'll just clean him up as we go. And straighten him out, that's all. Not really much we're going to worry about. We're just trying to come up with a neat little carving to play with and practice with our hand tools. We practiced some eyes. We practiced, this is the same piece, by the way. We practiced some lips, and I definitely got to show you lips again, but we got to do them with a better mouth. See, as long as you're doing the barrel of the mouth correctly, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm out of the camera because I have it blown up for you guys. But as long as you can do the barrel of the mouth really good and make it a good size and then round it off and start your mouth, which I really didn't take the time to do much on this guy, your lips are going to come out a lot better and a lot easier, right, than what I went through here trying to get them in, all right? And I just kind of rushed through it because I was thinking about doing a mustache with just a lip, but we ended up changing plans in the middle of that. So next time I'll plan it, and we'll show you how to do it again. So if you're confused in this video, welcome to the world of carving. I'm sorry, my bad. I'll make it up to you in future videos to come, okay? Like I said, on this one, even if you just get an idea of how to do some hair on a Native American, if you carve one up, like these simple little braids we're doing, you know, then it'll be worth the watch, hopefully. Make sure you give me comments. Make sure you give me input. Give me ideas, anything you like. Like I said, I will try to answer you. So try to answer everybody that comments. So sometimes even in emails, you get so many emails when you have a YouTube channel. It is hard to keep up answering everybody. I try my best, but sometimes people get lost in the fire because there is other things going on in life for me most of the time besides YouTube. I know I'd rather be on a lot more. Trying to be pretty consistent nowadays. I'm going to stay that way, don't worry, but if you don't hear from me now and then, something got in the way for a while. but I'd always come back, so don't worry. Okay, now you see how that's starting to almost look like beads going down there? It's kind of a cool effect already, but that's not the effect I want right here. Actually, I only want this piece here, and then this be hair. I don't know. No, we're going to have one bead here, one bead here. That's right. This is hair. This piece of hair right here is a little short. That's all. That's going to be hair right there. And then here's the other piece of leather, if I want them to be. Oh, yeah, that's what I did. I cut two here and made them beads instead of leaving this piece one. See, I'm talking and I screwed up. Well, we could go with beads. Just down here to the braid, we could just make these all braids. Let's do that. We'll just cut another one here. Like I said, it's no biggie. It's ours. It's not like we're, it's an assignment for school or anything. We'll just make it even on this side and roll with that. That's all. Okay. Might actually be even a cooler look than I was planning on in the original. And that'll work. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. All right. On the bottom here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a V cut. Right across that line. Just little tiny cuts. You don't have to go crazy. All right. Just separate it for now. Okay. Like over here. And you got to do it all the way over. All right. So we can definitely run a V-tool through there and get that all to stand out. All right. So that's a good start for doing his hair. We will have to take this part and push it all up underneath there now. All right. If we want it to look like that hair is going up and being held by those braids. All right. So that's going to come up and go underneath. And then we'll round them off afterwards as we go. See, so we're going to tuck that all up and underneath there so it looks like this piece right here is actually holding this hair. Which means over here on the corner, we're going to have to take it under just a little bit, make it a little thinner there. And make sure that this bead goes all the way over. So it looks like it's going under that, being held by that little piece. That would be a piece of leather, I guess. You know, that was holding his hair there. Okay? So that's what we're doing there. I'm going to clean these all the way up on both sides. Tuck this piece of hair into this one like we did over here. And then I'll be back. Okay, I went around and I did all those. And I took my number 8 gouge here. Okay. And all I did was just scoop around a little bit the outside here. To take that wood down just a little bit. All right. So then we can get this to start standing out. And we'll start marking those in with our V-tool a little bit better. And I think I'm going to use my bigger V-tool here. Right. And I'm just going to reinforce all those cuts with a little bit deeper line and a little bit straighter line. And when I get over here to the sides, I'm going to run up on this side just like that. So that'll start standing out from the back. I'm going to go right over like this. That V-tool helped me get down a little bit deeper when I'm going in towards the face. Okay. And it'll start cutting those in a little bit better. All right. These we're going to take over here. Go right through our line there. Oops, hold on. I'm always trying to keep that spot on my thumb from rubbing anything. My band-aids come off. Okay. So, going to run these up just like that and into each other with my V tool. Okay. So we get a little bit of depth on the outside here. And I'm also going to cut this piece of hair out here. We'll outline that a little bit better by running our V tool around that. Since it's just going to be a carving that you view from the front, it's not going to matter. But when he's from the side here, you want to be able to have that stand out. We'll take a little more wood out in the back here, so you'll be able to see his braid real good and everything when we paint them up. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do on both sides. I'll do that on this side too, and we'll get all that to pop out a little bit better. And I'll change my band-aid here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I went around him with the V-tool and my knife, and I separated all the little braids here. Okay, so he's got so many coming down here. And when I was looking at him, I was thinking, you know what? He's only got 3 on this side, and he's got 4 on this side. So I'm probably going to have to pop one more down in here. Like I said, sometimes you get talking and you just get working, and you look at your carving when you're done, and you go, what the hell? So I'm going to have to put an extra one in and do a little bit more work here. But let me show you what else we're going to be doing. I'm going to take some wood out of here a little bit more, and I'll make sure that gets nice and cut in there, so when he is viewed from the side, we'll be able to see that braid really nice, and it'll all blend in. I don't know what I'm going to do up here yet. This side, the same thing. I got some marker to take off here yet, and we're going to get that braid to come in yet. But let's keep moving on here. Another thing I would do to this guy, once I put one more bead down here, I'm going to do all the hair, and we'll just do that with a V-tool and make that simple. But let's say we wanted to give this guy, say, a necklace, okay? We would draw a line down here. And, of course, another one here, because we'd have to give him some kind of neck. Okay, and they would have to come up here and touch. I don't want to get too thick here. All right, and then we would give him another one. And we'd just make beads, I guess. Like that. We'll make them come down pretty good, since he's pretty long here. We'll bring that up a little. And we try to make a necklace that's, you know, coming around, and we would do something like this. Now this one might be a little long. I'm just showing you the technique here, because I'd have to cut all this up and under. All right, and we'd put beads on him and make him kind of animated, because right here would be really his neck. All right, so I'd have to cut that out too. And we want these beads to just kind of hang down and be either rounded beads or cylindrical shapes. And what we'll do is we'll start taking some of that out with a veiner. And let me see. This right here should work. The way I would start that is to just kind of start taking some of that wood out. I'm going to go right up here into the corner for now. I should have actually slipped this back a little bit and get his neck prepared, but that's okay, because really the whole thing's about me seeing if we can just get some of these things on this guy. I got to put them down again, sorry. And I'm out of band-aids. I thought I had one more. So you're going to have to deal with my boogered up big old giant knuckle there, and paper cuts and whatever else kind of boo-boos I have on my fingers. I'm sorry about that. I'll have to pick up more. I'm always cutting myself with stuff. And like I said, It's never really usually with my knife. I've cut myself just reaching into my box so already. I did that earlier. Reached into my box to grab a tool and another tool cut me. Okay. So we're just going to outline this. And after I do the first, I might look at it and I may want to take this one and raise it up. I like to leave space in between them. So I'm just outlining it with my veiner. Not going too deep yet. And the whole idea is to come up with a caricature of a little Native American with a little bit of beadwork. And a neat little project that we could practice all the little things we're practicing on. All right, so doing that, I might want to move this next one up. So instead of coming down to here, this line right here is probably the line that I would put the second set on. So I might do that and just cut the other set off with my knife. I don't know. Let's see how it looks. So I'm just gonna cut that in a little bit with this little veiner. I need a little bit deeper veiner here, but that's okay. It's enough to show you guys what how to do it anyway. Because like I said, after I'm done with these, I'll clean it up and mess with it and do a little bit more. I'll look at it and see what I don't like about it and what I want to change. And maybe I'll just start at the end of the videos. If you like any of the projects, I'll paint them up and stuff, show you a finished result, and maybe just throw them on eBay and say, okay, guys, anybody that might be interested in having that carving for reference after a video, maybe we'll do that. I'll just start throwing stuff on eBay, and if you guys want to pick it up, you can go over there and bid on it. And if any of the projects we did you really liked, and then you can have the carving that we actually did in the video for reference, which is always good to have too. You could look at it from the side and see the profile and whatever we did, you know. It's always good to have reference material too. Now we could do that, and then he'll have 3 sets of beads, but we want to separate this a little bit, so I'm going to get a little bit deeper. I don't know if I like that or not. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some wood out here and raise that. I guess we'll just keep them separated the way they are. So I want to come under here and take the wood out in between these two, and we'll still use that bottom one. I'd usually make these a little bit closer together. So we're just going to take that wood out there like that. Scooping it with my number 8 gouge here, okay? And underneath this one, I'm just going to use this gouge and see if I can get that started while it's in my hand. Okay. Now the whole idea is to start getting these to raise up so we can start forming some beads in there. Okay. All right. Over on the sides here, we are going to have to use a smaller tool. That's why I have to go back to the veiner, so we can get that to get up in there. Like right here. Okay, we'll have that necklace coming down there pretty good. Now what I want to do is I'm going to deepen that with my V tool on the top. And try and get a little bit more depth so we have something to round off. Okay. By cutting down. Same with this one here. We're just going to take our V tool. Trying to make this as simple as possible. We're going to dig that out pretty good. Clean up along this braid as we go. I can't believe I put 3 here instead of 4. There's 4 over here. Like I said, you can get distracted just because you have to talk and try to explain, and next thing you know, your knife's going wild on one side, and you go to the other side, and you go, what'd I do? So we're just trying to lay the V-tool on its side here and shave down some of his shirt or whatever this would be, okay? So we can get that necklace to stand out. All right. And the V-tool, like I said, the flat part of it here, you can use as kind of a little chisel and just shave. So now that's starting to round off there. I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to kind of lay it towards the inside of his neck and try to get a little bit more wood out so I can raise the necklace. I'm still running through the groove of the necklace when I do that. Okay, I'm using that as a guide. And using the edge of my V-tool here to shave. Okay. Just so we could take that down and get that necklace to stand out. Okay, like that. And then we're going to have to do the same thing on the bottom. We're going to have to make that stand out. So I'm just going to keep using my V-tool while it's in my hand. All right. We're going to go around that. Trying to stay in the camera here for you. So then we can get that to stand out. And it undercuts it a little bit too. Not that we're ready for that yet, but if it's not deep enough, I'll make a couple of passes because I want something to round off. All right, remember these are beads. So little cuts. And try to get some wood out there. And now on the bottom, we'll just do that later on. We don't need to do that right now. The lines that we drew in, right? I just drew a couple of lines everywhere. We're just going to make small passes right now. Let's just run our V-tool through those ever so slightly. Okay. Just like that. And one up here. And you can see the idea what we're starting to form here. This little beaded necklace. Now what I'm going to do is take some of this down. And that will start forming his neck. Just using my knife there. Anything that doesn't come down, you can make a little stop cut. Pop it out. Okay. Just so we get a little bit more clearance here. Especially when we get up in here, we might have to, whoops, might have to stop cut that. I hit the cord on my phone. And we'll try to get that taken out a little bit. Okay. So that way we start getting a little bit more clearance. We'll have to do it over here too. But to show you these beads and what we're going to do, I want to introduce you to a little tool. I'm going to look and see if I can get these in my Amazon store. I don't know if you can find them on Amazon or not. But this right here is a little tiny skew. And these are dockyard tools. I had put these in some of my videos a long time ago. I might as well mention them again. But these are micro tools, right? And they're really good. And this right here is just a little tiny skew for getting into those nice little tight places, right? And like I said, I'll try and put the link in the description if you want to look into any of these. And once you have some of these little tools, you really wonder why you never had them before. And we're going to try and just shave some of this on the corners here with this little tool. You can use your knife for this too, but since he's small and a little hard to hold, you know, I'm just going to use my dockyards here. And we're just going to kind of knock the corners, the edges off. Right. I should have done this actually before I ran my V tool, but because I'm making a video, you just start doing things without thinking. So I'm just taking those edges off of this side on the inside here, because we want to round these beads, so the rounder we can make it on both sides first, all right, the easier it's going to be. Have to clean it up later. And the same thing on the bottom edge. Now you could do this with your knife, like I said. Sometimes it's just nice to use this little skew. I mean, it's really not a complicated process to make a beaded necklace, okay? So I would round those off top and bottom as much as you can. Trying to take these sharp corners off. And then we'll get our V-tool out again. And we'll tighten all that up. Okay, because the rounder, actually the rounder you start before you do the V-tool work, the easier it is to get these to kind of look nicer. Okay. Probably have to strap this little tool. It's been a while since I've had it out. My knife would probably work better. You know, so I'm just rounding those off. But those little dockyards are nice. Sometimes you just need to get into a small place and you really can't beat those. All right. So I'm just rounding on the top and on the bottom. And if it's not deep enough after that, then I'll deepen it again. All right. So once I have that rounded, I'd go to my V-tool again. And I would recut those. Okay. It'd be much easier to recut them once they're rounded. Okay. I'm not going too nuts. Just running the V-tool through. Now up in here, I'm definitely going to need to use my knife because it's a little too tight there. So I got to get some of this wood out and get some depth where that necklace goes up. So I'm going to make a V-cut here and hope I can get that out without boogering it all up too bad. And try to pop that out. Right in there. Just to get some depth in there. So we can have that necklace going up where it's supposed to be. And we'll be able to see it and round off a bead or two, hopefully. That marker is going to mess us up a little bit, maybe. So I'll try and shave some of that off also. Because I want to be able to see. As long as we can get that in. I have a little piece here I want to get out. Did I get it? I think so. Okay. Now, this necklace is starting to form a little bit. Let's push the corners. Just like that. Just a little downward cut. Just taking that same V-tool and pushing down to finish those cuts off. It's going to be hard to get that one. That one I might have to do with my knife. But if I can show you guys the process, like I said, I can always take it off camera afterwards and work on this. That way I don't have to make the video so long every time. Same thing on this side. I'm going to push down and pop it out. I mean, it's not really rocket science. This is a pretty easy step. It's just a matter of where you place those. Don't worry about if it digs up. And then we're going to round just a little bit into each other, knocking any sharp corners off of these things. It's just a matter of cleaning and rounding these beads into each other. And trying to stay in the camera when you do it. And that's how I would start doing my necklace. And I would do one, like I said, I'd do the bottom one and this one, get them to have a little space in between them. And that would be painted as whatever color his shirt I paint, all right? And that's how I would start doing a beaded necklace going around there. It's going to be cleaned up, don't get me wrong. But I don't want to spend too much time explaining it and doing the whole thing on video, because I would rather get to finishing this guy in this video. And then I can clean it all up off camera when I can do it a little more comfortable also. Once I do that, I would try and round them over this way too. Okay. And I would have to cut this out and get that out of there too, so I could do it up there. And then I'd do the same thing here on the bottom. And we would have two necklaces. I'd clean it up with my V-tool after that also. Okay. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy. Okay. And then we'd work on his neck and get all that to blend into his necklace. Now you can also take some cuts out of that. Hold on. Can also take some cuts. Oops, drop that tool. At the bottom here, you can always take some wood out by taking some V cuts out here. All right. And that'll help those beads to start separating a little bit also. Am I in the camera? I don't even know. Okay. So these are all just little things you can do to make that look a little bit nicer. Some V-cuts. Like I said, tips and tricks. Not really carving the whole thing on camera here because I want to get to his hair. All right. And what we're going to do with his hair is, first of all, try to find whatever tool I dropped, which is probably the one I need. Yep, it was my V tool. Okay. This camera here is real easy to get out of frame. All right, so any of that we have to clean up, we would use those techniques. Like I said, we'd use our V tool to separate the beads. And then we'd use our knives or little chisels or whatever we have to clean them up, round them over. And the more you work on them, the nicer they'll look. And you can make just simple little beaded necklaces all the way down your carving. All right. And underneath here, of course, we would clean this up so it goes into the beads nice. And the neck we would bring down and into those beads. And I would usually use a gouge for that. You know, just coming, because it will give him wrinkles in his neck too. If I took this gouge and I started doing this, oh, that tool just rolled right off the table. All right, but I would do this and scoop where that neck comes down, okay? And then I would take my detail knife to remove those, all right? And it's going to start giving him some aged necklines and everything else. And it gives it a neat effect. And it'll really make those beads pop out also, okay? And that's how I would start getting his neck to come down, right? Let me just hold this down. It is hard to hold these away from you and carve. I know I'm making excuses already, but that's just my biggest problem with doing the videos. All right. That and keeping my tools from rolling off my little desk here. All right, so we just Get those out with the stop cut. Okay. Shave down ever so slightly. And it's just a matter of cleaning. But I love, see the gouge effects on that neck? It's a nice old wrinkled neck he has. Now, he's not too old. We didn't give him too much age lines, but you get the idea. So I would go around and I would clean all that up. Get all the chips out here. Let's move on. One more time, I'll pick up my V tool. And let's do his hair. Now up here, all I have is just this little piece right here that's going to be hair, and down here. So all I'm going to do with that to create the hair is just run my V tool to make some separate tufts of hair, okay? Now we could make this hair twist and everything else, but that's for another tutorial. So right here, we're just going to make some simple lines, bring them down and into his braid. And that's all we're going to need to do in this carving anyway for that. All right. And when we view it from the side, like I said, he'll be fun to look at. All right. So now he's got some hair there. And that's all we're going to do for that. Simple. Okay. Not going to go too crazy with it. We will separate it with the V tool up here so it goes under that top part real nice. And maybe add another line or two for hair there. All right. Get that to go up. Okay. So now he has hair there. We'll do this other braid. And then it's the same thing down here. Okay. What we would do is just simply take our V tool and start running towards the point. Okay. Watch your hand right here at the end. If this goes off, bam, you go right into your finger. All right. Make sure you're holding it down below. So when this clears, your hand isn't in the way there. And I'm just going to run this V tool down. And put some hair there also. Okay. Make sure you're wearing a carving glove if you're new to the hand tools, as you can have that V tool slip and you'll create a nice V-shaped cut in your hand. That's exactly the type of, remember I told you the shape of the tool dictates the shape of the cut you get. Well, if you get a cut and it's in your hand, it's going to be the shape of that tool. If it's a gouge that gets you, it's going to be a U shape. If the V tool hits you, it's going to be a V shape. But it's going to be a nice cut. Trust me, these things are sharp. Okay? So definitely wear your glove. All right, and that's all we're going to do there. I mean, I'll clean all this hair up later, like I said, off camera. And then if anybody wants this, like I said, I'll even throw it on eBay after I paint it. And you can use it as a reference carving if you like. I'll try to start remembering to do that. And there can be one more thing on the channel that I can offer you guys that's pretty cheap. And you can have reference, and it's a good way to sell some carvings also, I guess. So, should have actually thought of that before and mentioned it. So I think I'm going to start doing that a lot too. So that's how we're going to do the braids here. And I'm going to figure out what to do up here. I really don't know, but I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to walk around these braids. Up here, the only other thing I would do, because that's what I'm going to do to finish the carving, I'm going to do his beads, right? I'm going to do something up here. I don't know if it's just going to be, I might just take all of this off, okay? And round the whole head off. Put some kind of a hat or something on here. Not a hat, but some kind of dressing headband, something. I'm not quite sure yet. All right. But the only other thing we really need to finish this, before I could just finish him a little off camera, and this series will be over on this carving anyway, except for giving you a photo of the finished product after I paint them, is to come up with something up here and do his eyes. And to finish his eyes, all we need is a set of pupils. So I'm going to find my little gouge. I'm surprised it's not off the table. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to offset it a little bit about here. I'm just going to push that in. Okay. I'm going to come over here, offset it just a little bit. I don't want it right in the center, in other words. I'm going to push that one in. We'll make him looking to the side just a little bit. I used the small veiner for that because I don't want big goofy holes. I'm going to pop those out with my detail knife. All right. If I can't get it out all the way, I might have to recut that. Just want to make sure that I get that chip out. Sometimes they give you a hassle. And we do the same over here. Pop that one, pop right out. This one right here, I may have to recut it just a little bit. Make sure I have the same tool too. I want to go underneath that eyelid. Sometimes it takes a little more than one cut. There we go. And you'll get some nice shadow in there, and you'll have two nice little eyes. Okay, we can shave those down. And other times, if they look a little too big, the rest of the eye for me, I'd take the corners out more, make them smaller. And other times you can even take your V-tool. There's a pretty big V-tool for this. But you could actually take your V-tool. Do I want to do it on this, or should I just leave it? We'll try it. And just make a little cut like that. Okay. I'm going to do it over here. And sometimes I'll do that to make it a little bit nicer if the eye just doesn't look right to me. Because like I said, he's a caricature, so sometimes I just want to animate him a little bit more and make things a little different. So that right there gives him a different type of look. I can round that off. Can also use a gouge to do that same effect. But I just basically made everything smaller, and it doesn't look like he has these big, this whole mound with nothing going on in there. Okay, so that right there is what I'm doing the way I did this one anyway. I'd finish his lips up a little bit. His profile looks pretty good. I want to give him some paint. I want to figure out what to do with up here, but I don't want to make a fourth video for this guy. So we're going to call this video there, or right here. I would give him a little bit more age lines, maybe deepen a little bit of these bags here and there, you know. I'll clean him up and give him some eyebrows, some eyebrow lines. We gave him a big brow line here, so he's nice and animated. Okay, I'll do the same over here. That's what's fun about these guys, is he's kind of semi-realistic, but he's not realistic. You know, I can make him whatever I want. I don't have to worry about, oh, he doesn't look quite right, because he looks cool to me, you know. And I can paint him however I want, and people will still know what he is. But at the same time, he's different, you know. And we got had a lot of fun with our hand tools. So I'm going to play with him a little bit more. I'll let you see in the next video what I come up with. I'll paint him, and then we'll throw him on eBay and offer him to whoever wants him. And that'll be it for him. So I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I will see everybody in the next video. Look at that beak. Honk, honk. Okay, I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye now.